Oh, let's do favourite accents. Let's go.
Favorite accent.
Just before we start, what's your favourite accent?
I was about to say like New Zealand is definitely one of the funnier ones. And
The
I appreciate
funnier
that.
one.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Like New Zealand or
Irish
like
is-
I love South African. South African's
South African is
so
fun.
wild.
South African is
Irish
really
is
good.
probably like if like you had to actually listen to something,
Yeah.
Irish is so up there. But
Yeah,
like
it's
in
hard to
terms,
understand though, Irish.
but in terms of funniness, South African's probably the top.
There's a South African guy at his work, and he just like haven't had a good start today. Like it's just so funny, isn't it? Ah, yes. You like it, hey? Welcome back, everyone, to the Chip Lunch Podcast. It is exciting to have you along with us, and Brayden and I tried to match.
Yeah.
If you're watching on
You
YouTube.
do even the t-shirt.
I wasn't.
kind.
Yeah, I
This
know.
is yellow,
I wasn't
bro.
even meant to be on today.
I know you weren't.
And
You're a
then-
late call-up.
And then we've accidentally.
I think I need to go home and
This is a
change now.
pale
Yeah,
yellow,
white
though.
shirt.
It's a
Is that
butter.
a butter?
It is an off-white.
Off-white.
Oh,
Yes.
off-white. Cream bone white, the off-white, the ivory, and the beige.
Yes.
You know.
You know, Joe has two pairs of socks where one is off-white and one is I don't know what white, and like matching
white.
them is like like how do you match them?
When you fold them.
I'm like, why would you do that? Just buy the same color white.
Joey, you haven't washed this pair. One pair's not washed. It's just like filthy. That is the lovely voice of Mary joining us on the Chip Lunch Podcast today, which is awesome. Welcome.
Hello, thank you.
It's really, really cool to have you on. Thank you for making the trek
Yeah.
all the way out from where you live in
It's
Ryde.
totally fun.
to over
I think I
here.
traveled in at the best time possible.
Did you?
Yeah, probably.
So I've got this theory that I got from uni was that like we used to go to uni when you only had to be there like 11, and I used to drive to Campbelltown from the Shire,
Yeah.
but you would get much less traffic, like you're saying, but heaps of trucks because the truck drivers had gone to their depot and got in the trucks, and because I drove along the M5,
Yeah.
and there was heaps of trucks. I don't know. Do you think that was
Okay,
do you
no,
reckon
there
you
were a
agree?
few, not too many.
Okay,
Mm.
maybe because you're different direction across the city. but,
Yeah.
no. And you're here because
And
because
because
the train strikes.
the trains have failed me. It wasn't actually a train strike. It was just like, well, who knows?
was it?
It's just massive mechanical
Faulty.
failures, apparently.
Oh, they're probably maybe the
Signals went down at Como, and then I had another problem in between just before Wallow Creek. We sat there for about 45 minutes.
oh,
It's
that's the
super
worst
fun.
when you sit
Wow,
on the train
45
for
minutes. That's
ages.
almost
Yeah.
the time it took me to get here
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was a bit silly.
from Ride.
And then I on my way back got to Sutherland. I was trying to get here to Miranda, and train got cancelled, got off, and I was like, when's the next one to Miranda? 41 minutes.
Oh,
I was like, no. So I walked home and drove here.
I thought you were going to say like
Walked here.
so I rode here or something, like just this really random
Yes.
form of transport.
Yeah. So
I flew here.
all the fun. So I've ended up here today, which is
Here we
lovely.
are.
We get to hang out.
Yes.
Chat to Mary.
Yeah.
It's really good. So let's start with the first question.
Yep.
Mary, how did you become a Christian?
How did I become Christian?
That's not the first question.
No, it's not.
Oh,
Are you okay?
It's not-
You've made it the first question
Are
now.
you okay?
I was so
I'm
prepared.
confused. I'm looking at you and it looks like I'm looking in a mirror.
I was so prepared to answer the first question about hot chips, and now you've just changed
I
it,
stuffed it
and
up.
you've thrown me off.
Gosh, I'm so sorry. Let's start with the first question. I'm not going to edit that out because
No.
I'm a true authentic creator.
Great.
3 questions.
Mary,
Yeah. You have one job.
what would you say to your younger Christian self? That's the last one.
You have one job. Yeah, there you go. That's
Oh,
the
no, I
intro,
have
Hudson.
more than one job. Yeah. Mary, how do you like to eat your hot chips?
Okay, can I say
Yes.
I'm actually a shoestring fry kind of girl.
Oh.
Yeah.
So I prefer that over the big hot chips.
Yeah.
And Joe actually told me about these questions beforehand. And
That's fun.
I think the all-time favorite so far is Mary's Burgers shoestring fries.
Where, do you own this chain, Mary's Burgers?
Oh yeah, they should pay me now.
Yeah.
I do not know, but when we lived in Newtown,
Okay.
we went there a little bit,
Mm.
Yeah.
and it's probably also one of my favorite burgers too.
So where is it in Newtown? Help me. Is it on King Street? Or is
It is on King Street,
Oh, I
yeah,
don't
but it's
even
in
know
like
where
a
it is.
dingy little. You
Oh.
go down and it's like dark and rock music pumping.
Oh,
and,
wow.
yeah.
Okay. So I find sometimes with shoestring fries, if they're not cooked properly, they're very floppy.
No,
And
they're
not-
good.
they're good.
They're
They're
like,
like-
crispy, well seasoned.
Yeah.
It's good.
Okay, awesome. And any sauce preference?
Aioli is probably the
Mm-hmm.
first preference. But with that, I could just go just without sauce
Yeah.
with the Mary's ones.
Because they're good enough.
They are.
Wow.
They're that good.
And so I'd like to get your perspective on this because it does involve kind of shoestring French fries.
Yeah.
Weng's thing, because you see Weng a lot more than we do.
Oh, yeah, we do.
Of
I
him
cannot believe it.
Leaving it in the fridge and then eating it afterwards?
No.
Do you
I
reckon,
don't even like it slightly cold, let alone from the
Yeah.
fridge.
Is it worth kicking him out of Ride? Ride gathering for that? Well, he's a parish councillor though.
Yes.
So he's very serious.
Can't do that one.
One of my favourite things about Weng, and sorry if I'm digressing, but when we had everything online, his background was like a huge lounge room, like a massive like library and bookshelf at the back.
Oh, yeah.
And I used to say like, oh, you got that mogul life, Weng, and he had no idea what I was talking about over and over.
But it was just a background.
Yeah, it was just his Zoom
okay,
background.
right.
But he was like, what are you talking
It was
about?
very impressive Zoom background.
It was cool. It was a good one.
A cool background.
I like those ones where they just, they fade out the background. It's just like you
Oh,
with a floating
yeah.
head. You don't like that one? What would you prefer?
Well, I don't know about backgrounds, but I'm pretty sure I've seen like people post up posts where they say like my boss put themselves into like a potato and couldn't change back.
yeah.
to meeting
That
something
guy who
like
was a
that.
cat, the judge who was a cat in America. I'm not a cat.
So good.
That is so funny.
You really can't take them seriously at that point, right? Surely.
And he's like, they're doing like a court session on Zoom. Anyway, let's move on from that. So the second question,
Yeah.
which I do remember what it is how did
Okay.
you become a Christian, Mary?
Yes, I guess it's a journey. I grew up going to church. My mum took us to church and kind of just went through the motions of it, absorbed it, was probably pretty well-behaved, like one of those well-behaved Christian kids at church. I was thinking about this. I think family circumstances meant that I was a bit of a savior. I wanted to fix all the problems in life, and particularly with, say, family things. There were some difficulties, and I wanted to I'm the youngest, so it's a bit weird.
Yeah.
I wanted to be the one that could just, I'll live well so that my parents don't have to worry about me,
Yeah.
but also that I want to be there, for my family.
Yeah.
And I very quickly realized that I can't fix everything.
Yeah.
And maybe this was probably throughout growing up. But I got to high school and I was thinking, what's the point of life? I don't know if high schoolers think about that, but I did. I was like,
they do.
what's the point of like going through all these hard things that I can't fix? And then you kind of just die. Like that's kind of what I thought. Like what? Like why would I bother going through that? And I think pieces of the Bible of what I learned growing up going to Sunday school kind of came together as I was in the process of thinking about all that. That actually the world is broken because of sin, because we've rejected God's ways of living and we've rejected him as our king. But also the world is just broken in general. But that actually I live for eternity with God. And so the here and now is preparing me for that. It's not just going through and that's it. And that actually God is the one who fixes sin for good. And I don't need to do that. And so I think piecing all that together helped me to go, yeah, that helped me make sense of the world, and I wanted to live in that way. And then going to uni, I studied OT, and there was a really great Christian group at uni, and I think it was there that I just realized that Jesus is not only my savior who died on the cross for my sins, but he's also the Lord of my life, and that changes everything that I do. The way I use my time, my money, my relationships, everything. And I think, just kind of slowly God just grew my faith in kind of understanding my sin and the salvation that comes through Jesus and how that changes everything. Jesus changes everything.
Yeah. Is there a moment you can point to where you're like, yeah, I am a Christian? Like,
There's probably a couple of moments. I think there was one in year 7 and one in year 9,
okay.
both at like some kind of camp.
Okay.
Where the speaker gave a talk, did a prayer.
Well, tell us about those.
Oh, honestly, I don't remember too much about it. Yeah. But I really, I'm very thankful that I think having gone to church my life and hearing that, because like for people who are adults and who hear for the first time what some guy rose from the dead, like that's crazy. Like, which is still pretty crazy because he's God. But I don't know, somehow having grown up with that, just kind of go, oh yeah, he rose to life. Yeah, sure. Like it, yeah. And so I'm really thankful that that was the case. And yeah, just thankful that kind of the circumstances of growing up led me to a God who loves and cares, who made everything, who's forgiven my sins, who has prepared a space for me in heaven. And I really do think just as no other way makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. I kind of like, it's a little bit like that with my story, I suppose. Becoming a Christian was like, I just knew there was something and I had to find it. Was that the case for you, or was it more what you were saying before, is it realizing that you couldn't fix everything, but God has fixed everything?
Yeah, I think it was like that.
The second one, you mean?
Yeah, the second one. And just even like, because I always thought that I was quite a obedient child. Like I tried my best to listen. But actually that's the heart of sin is not just doing bad stuff. It's in relation to God. It's rejecting God as my creator and king. And so even my thoughts of, if I try hard enough to be good enough, that's not going to work in any front. It's not going to work to fix any problems in life. It's not enough to make my relationship with God right. And I guess that's where the gospel comes in of what Jesus has done. Yeah.
So can you tell us, you mentioned just before we started recording that you've moved around a little bit.
Yes.
Tell us, like, so you were born in Hong Kong,
Born
is that
in Hong
right?
Kong.
So
yep.
How long were you there for?
5 years.
5 years.
Yep.
And then
we...
Can you, before you moved, tell me about Hong Kong. Because I'm guessing, have you been back since?
Oh, yeah. I mean, when I was younger, we went back definitely more often. But Hong Kong, we had a fair bit of family there. So I remember it being quite fun, like just having a lot of cousins around. It's quite common for people in Hong Kong to have helpers in the home. So I do distinctly remember having helpers at home who lived in with us. I remember my brothers going to school, and I remember eagerly waiting for them to bring back a treat that they would have brought from the school canteen that I could eat.
Oh, for you?
Yeah,
oh,
for
that's
me.
Lovely.
Yeah. I actually did a year of, I think you would call it kindy there, and before I moved to New Zealand. But then I redid kindy when I went to New Zealand.
So for someone that hasn't been to Hong Kong, like me, I haven't been there. I've been to Singapore, but I haven't, like, I'm not saying they're the same. But if someone, like, what do you think of, like, what would be the appeal of going to Hong Kong, do you think?
Appeal? I think the hustle and bustle, if you like that kind of stuff. It's got good food. Shopping used to be good. I'm not sure about anymore, but it used to be like the place you'd go back to kind of get well-priced, good quality clothing. Okay. Yep. But I think they're all just upped and high-end now.
Oh, okay.
But I think definitely the food and the kind of nightlife. Because most shops don't open until like 11 a.m.
Okay.
or 12 even sometimes.
Does that mean like people go to bed a lot later then?
Yeah, that's right.
Oh,
Yeah. And the shops like stay open till a lot later. Which is why I think when people come from, say, even China or Hong Kong, they're like, there's nothing on at night. Like shops close at like 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. So it's quite different in that way.
Even like Brayden, remember when we were out once and we went via Lakemba?
Oh yeah.
And like
Oh,
the
yeah.
main street of Lakemba is just pumping.
Yeah.
And we
it
were
was
there
like a Wednesday night.
9 o'clock at night or something.
Yeah, it was after a council
and they
meeting.
got like,
Yeah.
No, it was when we hung out with Lewis for Lewis's birthday in Burwood.
No, I swear it was after the council meeting we went to get baklava.
Anyway, it doesn't matter. Yeah, we went and got some baklava in Lakemba. But
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
the place it opens at 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
And we've done the same thing
yeah.
when we've come over to ride as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
So yeah, it's just an interesting thing of what different cultures do. Oh, there's Bangladeshi dudes who are like hanging out around the Bangladesh place as
Oh
well.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just more pumping than
It is.
it is.
Yeah.
It's quite common that people will go out for supper, like
Oh,
after
okay.
dinner time, like
Yeah.
late. Like,
Oh really? What do you have at supper then?
oh, I think it kind of depends, but what would you do? I mean, I don't think it'd be that different too. Like it'd be like stir fry noodles,
Okay.
fried rice, or like
Yeah.
or like street food.
Like a smaller dish.
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, more
Yeah.
just like a hangout
Yeah.
kind of meal. Yeah,
I would like that. I mean, that'd be
Yeah.
fun. I'd like it how, from just pictures I see and stuff of that, like it's all on the bay.
oh yeah,
Like that's what looks really cool. and you've got all
yeah.
that-
They
got
don't
all
do
the-
too much of them anymore.
Oh, no,
They've kind of cracked down on them because of hygiene.
Oh,
whatever,
okay.
but yeah,
it's pretty cool. I don't know. Anyway.
yeah.
Well, at some
That's
point, Brayden will go to Hong Kong on a
I've
Lads
been
trip.
I've been
Have
to
you been?
Hong
Were
Kong,
you really?
but only the airport.
Oh, the airport.
Yeah, I stop over somewhere.
Oh, the airport has that. The old airport. Have you heard about the story of the old airport? Like it's right in the middle of the city, but Hong Kong's surrounded by mountains, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they had to fly in, and they have to fly in, and then just before landing, they have to take this real right hand turn to get in line with the runway.
Oh.
Yeah.
And you probably know it, but there's this huge concrete sign with like big red arrows pointing to the right, somewhere up on one of the mountains.
Oh, I don't think I've noticed that.
Yeah, that was the old airport because that was
Yeah.
right in the middle of the city.
Yeah.
But then they reclaimed land and built a airport further out. But one of the coolest things is if you're like Cathay Pacific, which is the airline that's based in Hong Kong,
Mm.
you can get on the train in the middle of the city and check your bags in there. So you don't have to
Ah.
do it at the airport, and they just put it on the plane for you.
I also did not know that.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
Anyway,
Okay.
only because I learned that
That
from my
tourism podcast.
I learned that from my dad because he's been there a few times. Anyway,
Yeah, right.
yeah, he told me some story like there was a big storm in Hong Kong, and they're like, "Oh, we're not sure if we'll get out." And then they come on the speaker and like, "Right, there's a spot in there's a hole in the storm. We're going to take off through it." He's like, like it's pretty bad, not great weather, but anyway, we'll move on from that. So you moved from Hong Kong.
Yes.
Where do you move to?
New Zealand.
Oh,
Yes.
what was the reason for the move?
I think the China taking back Hong Kong
Right.
would have been a reason.
Okay.
But also apparently my brothers were really struggling with schooling
Oh,
in
really?
Hong
Yeah.
Kong because it's really intense in
Is
Hong
it?
Kong. Or like even the kindy year that I did, I was writing English by then, and I was
Yeah.
like 4.
Yeah.
And when I moved to New Zealand and did kindy, it was like we just had to read like a few books. It's like, what is this?
It's
Yeah.
so easy.
And so I think they found schooling quite hard. And so it was a combo of that. And I think my parents thought, oh, we'd get better opportunities overseas, which is what people think.
So where did you move to in New Zealand?
Auckland,
Okay.
New Zealand.
Yep.
And yeah, we lived there for 5 years. So I pretty much did most of my primary schooling there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think it was a big like kind of culture clash for you moving from Hong Kong to
I think because I was young, it wasn't too bad.
yeah,
Yeah.
a bit more
Oh,
adaptable?
it was pretty. Yeah, it was pretty adaptable. Made friends pretty quickly. Yeah, so I think, and it was a very pleasant childhood that I had there. Like just kind of the whole play in your backyard, run around in the streets.
Yeah.
We would rollerblade or ride our bikes.
Yeah.
Just kind of a very chill and fun kind of childhood.
That's
Yeah.
nice. And you've got 2 older brothers?
2 older brothers.
Okay.
Yeah.
And was school a bit better for them when they?
I think so. Yeah, a lot more chill there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think
So your parents were happy with the
That
move?
I think so. My dad actually didn't move with us. My
Oh,
only mum and me and my 2 brothers.
really?
So dad had a business in Hong Kong and he stayed there, which is not uncommon for people in Hong Kong. Yeah. And so he would almost come visit us every school holidays. Yep.
Did he move permanently at some point?
No, dad still lives in Hong Kong.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So then you do high school, primary school,
Primary
I
school.
should say, at New Zealand.
Yep.
Are you going to a church in New Zealand as well?
Yes, that's right.
Oh.
Yep, going to a church in New Zealand. To be honest, I don't remember heaps from the church in New Zealand.
No, that's right. It was a bit 5 and 10, wasn't
But
it?
I do. I guess I guess that's where the piecing together of things should, because I think there was a foundation of biblical truths laid down that kind of helped me piece those together. That I had something to piece together.
Yeah.
When I got older. So yeah, I'm glad for those years of going to church. Yeah.
So you went to church in Hong Kong and church in New Zealand?
Yeah.
Or-
Yep.
Oh,
That's right.
cool.
Yeah.
Was that different? Oh, you probably can't remember.
No, I
Sorry,
really
know
don't remember.
I'm
Yeah.
just interested. I'm just interested in the differences. That's all,
Yeah. Yeah.
more than anything else.
Yeah.
So then, how do you end up moving to Australia then? New Zealand, no good.
Yeah, I don't know. It was actually quite a bizarre thing because my mum came for holidays to Sydney and decided that she really liked Sydney.
Okay.
And I think within half a year, she came back and got our house packed up and just moved us there.
Cool.
Yeah.
Really?
And she just thought, okay, I think Australia is going to provide even better opportunities.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I think she liked that kind of in Sydney, the transport was a bit more kind of, there's a bit more going on.
Bit
It's
more
easier to,
widespread, I
convenience,
suppose.
easier to get around.
Yeah.
And I remember when she came back, it was like, what, we're moving? just that's it?
Who was looking after you when she went off to Australia?
I don't know.
You just chilled out yourself. Sick.
Probably.
No, what? I don't want to move.
I think
This is
someone did, but I actually don't know.
great. Okay.
But it was
But
it
then
was
she-
really it was such a whirlwind. And by year 5, year 6,
Yeah.
I had good friends, and
Yeah.
at first I really didn't want to go,
Yeah.
but I knew I had no choice because
yeah.
she'd packed up our house. And
Did
got our
she tell you, or
tickets.
she just started packing up the house and you just had to work out what was going on?
Oh no, I think she did tell us.
Okay.
Yeah.
But there was no consultation, no discussion.
Yeah, she told
It
you.
was just
she didn't
like,
ask you.
yeah, we're going.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
What's the age gap with you and your brothers?
My older brother is 6 years older, and
Yeah.
I've got the other one is 2 years older.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he would have been, when you were moving to Sydney, he would have been near the end of a high school?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. Yeah, that would have been even harder.
Yeah, that's
for
what I
him.
was thinking. I'm
I've never really asked him about it, but yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, because he'd be closer doing the HSC, wouldn't he, if he moved to
Yeah, that's right.
Australia? Hmm.
yeah.
What's it called in New Zealand?
Oh, I
anyone know?
didn't get there, so I don't know.
I was going to say HSC in a Kiwi accent, whatever that is.
I'm trying to think of what it would be, but is it be like? But I was trying to think of a New Zealand thing, but not being too offensive. So I'll just try not to do that. Okay, so moving to Australia then.
Yeah.
Where do you move to in Sydney?
Actually, around where we're living right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Epping was where
Epping.
we
Yeah.
I spent kind of high school, some uni years, so around there. And so we're living in West right now, which is 5 minutes away.
It's like the next
Yeah.
suburb, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
Next
okay.
suburb.
So then I'm guessing you're finding a church again and going to church again?
Yes. We went to a church again, but actually funny now, not so funny back then. The first church we decided to go to that Mum found that was in Epping, there were some bullies there actually
Whoa.
when we got there. And I don't think I've ever told Mum yet now, but there would be these girls who kept saying that I was copying them, and then would be like, oh, don't play with, the other girls would be like, okay, don't play with her. And then it turned out to a point where I was just like, I don't want to go to church anymore. And but I just told mum I found it boring. I never told her about like the other girls.
Because you would be presenting more of a problem that can't be fixed.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Right.
But the good thing is I eventually found another church. But then I started kind of going there by myself, really. Mum would kind of just drive me there.
Yep.
And then I made friends there. So
how did you find that church then? Did you know someone different at school?
I'm trying to remember now. How did I find that church? I actually can't remember how I found that church.
That's all right.
Maybe did mum find another church? Maybe mum found another church and
She might have
started
known
taking
someone
me there, and then I kind of started making friends there. But this was high school already.
Yeah.
Yep. So I think there was a period where I did stop going because of I didn't want to go to that old church, and
Because you're a copycat.
because I was copycat, and it was mainly about clothes I wore. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyways, so that was a bit traumatic actually, but I'm really thankful
sure.
that I found like a church that I.
So which
went
school
to.
are you going to?
I went to Cheltenham Girls.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. And can you give us a perspective on going to a like single sex school? Girls' school?
Definitely a lot of like drama, lots of different groups, and even within the group of friends that I had, I like by year 11 and 12, I didn't really have a set group. I just kind of went from one group to the other. But mostly because what happened in my group was there was drama. Like there was like this girl didn't like this girl, and it was just messy.
Yeah.
Was it better to be kind of moving around
I think
and not get too involved in it?
So yeah, I mean, I had good friends. They were just in different groups. Yeah.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yep.
Right. Is there any kind of Christian involvement at school?
There was an ICU. I think that's what it was called. But I just went to scripture, I remember, at school. But then I also started going to a friend's youth group, which actually ended up being the church that I moved to and stayed there. And actually the church where like Joy and I met.
I thought so.
And so it was in year 9. Year 9, I started going to this youth group that my friend from school invited me to.
Yeah.
And went to that youth group until the end of high school. But I think at the end of high school, I changed even to that Sunday church. Yeah.
Yeah.
Any positive memories of youth or what it was
Of
like?
youth.
Only positive memories on this podcast.
Or negative, whatever.
Yeah.
I think, people always say like you don't remember the lessons, but you remember the people.
Yeah.
And so I do remember the leaders, like,
Yeah.
and some of them I'm still in touch with.
Yeah.
And some of them are in ministry as well. And so just remembering going every Friday night and, and kind of having fun, reading the Bible together. I don't know what, but just having older Christian models in life. Actually, the funny thing is, so we've just moved and I've found this like craft box thing with like, it's decorated, and I think the leaders did it.
Yeah.
And it was from like year 9, I think. And I don't know what that box was originally for. Actually, it's now turned into like a knickknacks keepsake kind of box.
Yeah.
But it was from them. Like
they
spent time decorating all these like little cardboard boxes for us, and I still have one of them.
That's
very
lovely.
cool.
Yeah.
I think I still have some warm fuzzies hanging around somewhere. Like warm fuzzies was a thing that you would do at some of our youth camps.
Yeah.
That you put an envelope up and write something really encouraging
Oh,
and nice and put it in there.
right.
So they call it warm fuzzies. I think I've still got some of them somewhere.
Yeah.
That some of my youth kids wrote for me.
Yeah.
So it's something quite special that you can still have that.
Yeah.
Okay, so finishing high school,
Yes.
did you have any like plans or ideas of what you want to do once you finish school?
Well, as I said, I studied OT.
Yeah.
I actually just wanted to be in health.
Okay.
I knew that I didn't want to sit in an office with four walls and just be there all day.
Mm.
And I wanted to be helpful, like help, kind of being in a helping profession. I actually, my first preference was psychology, but I actually pretty much knew that I wasn't going to get into it because my marks weren't like top notch.
Okay.
And then I had dietetics, but actually I also changed my mind in the end because actually I didn't do any science in high school, like as in upper high school.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I thought, oh, actually probably isn't a good idea because I'm actually not that into science. And although then I ended up doing a health science, which is quite different actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then I had actually one of my youth leaders, she was a speechy. And I also knew that
Is
wouldn't
that a
get into
speech pathologist?
Speech
Is it? Okay, cool.
pathologist, yeah. It's a
Sorry, I'm
term.
just
You're
not
up
in
to
the,
the lingo, bro.
I'm not in the allied health
Yeah,
services.
but she had said, oh, why don't you try OT?
Okay.
And at that point, it wasn't a super popular profession. Even like I remember having to, even after I graduated, having to explain to people what an OT was. That people would be like, is it kind of like a physio? I'm like, yeah, I guess so. I'll take it like kind of.
Or can you tell the uneducated masses who listen to this podcast
What an OT
yeah,
is?
what is it? What is an OT?
I think essentially we help like occupation, not in the sense of just paid work employment, but human occupation, the things that we do in everyday life.
Doing stuff.
And so our job is to help people get back to everyday life things, if post-injury or sickness or whatever. And so usually it involves technology, like prescribing technology, like things like, even like say with a stroke, if you've lost complete use of one arm, there are so many things out there that can help you still cook a meal if you want, even with one arm. Like you can get like a chopping board that doesn't move, that you can like, the spikes come up and you can put like a potato on it.
Oh, really?
And then so you can just chop with one hand.
You would need
Or
one of those
like-
when you did your arm, Brayden.
Or like just really cool things that would just mean that people can still get as much independence back as they could. And I really love that job. I worked about 2 years full time, and then I think another 2 years part time. Yeah. And so, yeah, it was I actually really didn't exactly know what OT was when I got into it.
Yeah.
But and I just got into it. It was like a point something that like difference of getting into it.
Oh, for you, like your UAI.
The mark.
whatever.
Yeah, UAI back then. No, it's
UAI.
not anymore.
Was it ATAR now?
Shows
isn't it?
my age. Yeah.
Well, was it UAI for you?
No.
Oh,
Later.
yeah. UAI for us.
Oh,
Don't
there we
worry,
go.
don't worry about
Yes.
it.
Oh,
All these-
What's yours, Hudson?
all these boomers.
Hudson's like GSF.
I haven't done mine. Sorry, have you done your ATAR yet?
yes. He's at uni. Smashed it, didn't you?
Hey, what are you studying? Oh, cool.
Business-
Yeah.
Business ethics.
Business ethics. Wow.
No, it's from
Okay. No ethics.
it's from
Okay.
what's it from? Not Happy Gilmore. Billy Madison. Business ethics.
No, I don't know that one.
Oh, that's okay.
Okay.
Right, right at the end, he's like he goes back through school. He has to do through school the whole way again.
Yeah.
And then has to compete against the bad guy.
Yeah.
And they have to choose topics for each other.
Yeah.
And he's like, I choose business ethics. And because the guy has no ethics, he doesn't know. That's where he loses it and
okay.
tries to shoot someone.
Okay.
Mr. Gordon, it is your turn. Mr. Madison, choose the topic.
I choose business ethics.
Yeah. Anyway, away from Billy Madison, a good movie you should watch.
Okay.
That is
Keep that in mind.
that's a movie of my high school time.
Oh,
yeah,
Everyone in
like
my high
the
school was like,
movie.
we watch Happy Gilmore and watch
But-
Billy
Oh,
Madison.
Happy
But,
Gilmore.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's definitely a very, yeah.
What?
It's like you either get it
Of
or
that
you
time.
don't.
It has to be
It's
of that
also of that time. It's a
Yeah.
good way of putting it.
Yeah, it is very
Yeah.
much so.
Yeah, it's a certain sense of humor. That is
Yeah.
my sense of
Adam,
humor.
Adam
Yeah,
Sandler's
Adam
sense of humor.
Sandler's
Yeah,
2 or 3 good movies.
yeah, that's,
Um,
that's right. Back to Mary.
Back to Mary.
Yes.
So What about you? Did you do any kind of leading at church? Were you doing youth leading or anything as you were finishing high school?
When I finished when I started uni, I think second year of uni, was when I started leading youth group.
Okay.
And Joe was coordinating youth group at that time.
No wonder you started leading.
That was not the
No,
reason.
you've brought that up for a reason though. Come on, why did you bring up that Joey was the coordinator? Is that just when the romance blossomed at that time?
Oh no, not really. More just like, that's the connection of where we met.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. So you're going to the same church, obviously,
Yes, correct.
but you hadn't really had much.
No, I mean, it was kind of like, I don't
Interaction.
know. It's probably like, I don't know. I think it's a typical Asian church thing where like
Oh,
the guys and girls don't mix in high school. Like you just kind of, the girls just hang out themselves and the guys hang out themselves.
oh no, that's probably all. Is that all youth
Is
groups,
it?
Brayden? What do you reckon?
Look, it's
To a
a fair
degree.
amount. Yeah.
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 But
you
then there's a
definitely-
time where you
when,
gotta-
when people start crossing the line,
Yeah.
normally like year 10.
Then you know something's
yeah,
not right.
everyone's
Yeah,
on.
yeah, yeah.
It's like,
Oh,
knows something's
What's
up pretty
going on?
quickly.
yeah. Or you
It
like,
changes. Like some years. Are
Yeah,
different to
sure.
other
Yeah, I'm
years,
sure
but
some years are different. Yeah.
or
but-
really you're just trying to do something to impress the girls or something like that.
There's definitely a shift as it gets to later youth group.
So you mentioned you think it's in Asian churches, but did that change?
As in
Like when do you think that would have changed? at your
probably
church?
uni,
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Which uni did you go to?
Sydney Uni.
Sydney.
Yeah,
Cool.
but
Did-
like Cumbo, which is where the health science campus was.
That's the Cumberland
Cumberland
campus, right?
campus.
Oh,
yeah.
so I was like, what?
I love it. You're like speechy Cumbo.
Cumbo, yeah.
Cool.
It was in Lidcombe, but now it's
Yeah.
moved to main campus.
Ah,
Oh, is it?
Yes,
Or just
Yeah.
that course,
The-
or the
the whole
whole thing?
the whole thing has moved to.
Yeah.
Really?
did they have like a uni Bible thing going on there that you went along to? Or was it just the church stuff you were?
No, I was quite involved at uni.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. That's probably all I remember about uni. Actually, is that I had a really great time at the
Did you?
at the Christian Union there.
Why?
Yeah.
Tell us why.
I think just like really like digging deep into God's word. Like there was Bible study each week, and there were Bible talks each week, and then there was also like a Monday night training where we kind of did like different courses. Like it was like 2 ways to live. I did an ethics course there, I remember, on my last year of uni, like Christian ethics. There was like biblical theology, and so like there was just a lot of time spent in God's word, mining it, and it was I look back on it very fondly. Yeah. I think-
It seems like it really shaped your faith because you mentioned
It
it
has,
before
yeah.
too. Yeah, it was just a really important time
Yeah.
for you as a Christian.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so. Yeah.
And do you have long-standing relationships still from those days?
I do, yeah. I actually have a friend who I went to high school with, and we studied OT together, and she is a Christian, and so I still keep in touch with her.
Yeah, awesome.
Ah,
Yeah.
sick.
So good.
Yeah.
Sydney Uni. Give
Sydney.
us the rundown on Sydney Uni.
So rundown.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I only know Cumbo, so I don't really know the rest
Well,
of
tell
it.
us about Cumbo then.
Tell us about Cumbo.
Yeah, why did you
kind
say
of-
that though? Like you was like, oh, it's only the Cumberland campus.
Because it's like very, very small.
Okay.
Like, and it's kind of almost like a high school where for most subjects, you stick with the same year group, like the same
Yeah.
people. So it's not like where you go to like do, I don't know, like a accounting degree or something. And then you're like in this class with this people, and then so like it was kind of just like a year group, like high
Yeah.
school cohort.
Yeah.
And the size of it was very small. Like it was just very intimate,
That
which
makes
I
it-
actually quite liked.
Yeah, I was gonna say
I
it's
think
better.
I'm that kind of girl. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're like, we're with the Cumbo crew.
Just small and
Yeah. Yeah, you're not walking into like
unassuming,
the
yeah.
engineering whatever lecture with like 200 people. in
yeah,
it or whatever.
yeah.
Mm.
There was
Yeah.
like one cafeteria.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was a lot of fun.
I didn't do any Christian stuff at uni.
Yeah, right.
I tried to spend the least amount of time
Oh, no.
there as possible because I
At
wanted to be
least
back.
amount of fun.
Wanted to be back hanging out with my friends.
Yeah, right. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Fair.
But it was because they're out at Campbelltown. But then, like, just thinking about the small uni, I managed to get one subject at the Bankstown campus.
Oh,
So that's
really?
really close for us. That's probably
Yeah.
like a 20-minute drive or
Yeah,
something like
yeah.
that. politics in post-war Japan. And it was actually really interesting.
Yeah,
I really
right.
enjoyed it, but it was so hard. I almost failed it.
Oh,
The
no.
assessments were so
It
hard.
does sound pretty.
But it was really interesting. Anyway, okay, so you're doing OT.
Yes.
When, like, because you mentioned Joey a number of times, of course, your
Yes.
now husband.
Yes.
When does that start to become a thing? Because you're obviously meeting at the same church. When did you start kind of getting on each other's radars?
Yeah. In my last year of uni, Joey asked me out to coffee. I think we're at that point we were both still leading in youth group. And I was not interested in him at that point, actually. But actually because I thought he was interested in my friend. And it was a really good friend of mine. And so from the beginning, I was like, oh, yeah, no.
I don't like architects anyway.
Wouldn't go there like at all. And so I was quite surprised when he asked me. But you know, kind like as someone leading youth group and younger, Joe's 3 years older than I am. Guy who's like mature, Christian, leading, like coordinating youth group. That's kind of like, that's pretty attractive. So I was like, yeah, sure.
He's going for it. He's good material.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Good husband material, I should say. Sorry, good boyfriend / husband material.
Yeah. And actually, a lot of the years of church at that uni kind of young workers time age, we had a lot of changes in leadership. Like for ages and ages, we didn't have a pastor.
Yeah.
And so it would just be like the pastor from the Chinese congregation come in, like different people come in. And so the leaders of the church essentially became some of the, like the leaders who were looking after youth group, whatever. And I guess Joe was one of them. And when I started uni, I became one of them as well.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I thought that was cool. Like just that he was someone that who loved God, who wanted to use his time to serve him. And so we went out for coffee, but actually it didn't last very long that first time.
Oh, it was a bit boring.
No, it just didn't. There were different things that meant that it didn't. I think we had 2 coffees, and then that was.
Oh,
we
you just got
just-
too hyper. too much caffeine.
And actually, I there was a little bit of sadness because actually I wasn't that interested in him before. But then after coffee, I was like, oh no, maybe this could work. But then it didn't turn out to work. And so that was a bit sad.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was not only until, or I think 4 or 5 years later that we went out again.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I don't. I probably feel like I should remember it from Joey's podcast, but it was a
while
while ago. So, right.
Yeah.
So then coffee again.
It
5 years later.
Yes, it was coffee again. Yeah. But at that stage, he'd gone out with someone else.
Mm-hmm.
But I think in the end realized actually that he really liked me. So
Awesome. I love it.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah. And so I was actually about to leave church and go to Moore College.
Oh, right.
And so I think he did it right before I was about to go. Otherwise, he probably wouldn't have caught me.
I might not see you.
After that,
again.
yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Catch you at the airport.
Airport.
Leaving on the jet plane. Go on. But
Yeah.
So we just
Oh
interrupted
yeah,
being
so
stupid.
then that's when he asked me out again. It kind of explained the situation
yeah,
of
Yeah.
yeah.
that's lovely.
Yeah.
So in the intervening years, so you're just doing OT then, obviously.
So I studied OT, worked 2 years full time as an OT.
Yeah.
After that, I did 2 years of MTS at Cumbo,
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Cumberland College,
Yeah.
Science. Yeah. And after that, did 3 years at Moore College.
Okay.
And Joey and I got married at the end of second year of my second year at college.
What made you want to make that shift out of OT into like first MTS
Yeah.
and then more? Like, what made you want to make that shift in the ministry?
Yeah. Well, I think during uni, when we were thinking about kind of how we live for Jesus now, and that like is everything that we do, I was convicted that actually everyone should consider whether they can do, go into paid gospel ministry. And not everyone will, and that's fine. But I think we should all think about how we can use our time. And at that point, I wanted to work first, just to, get out into the real world and get some life experience. And but actually during uni, I also spent a lot of time serving at church, at uni, like leading Bible study, that kind of thing. And when I started working, I realized that the reality is that I spend most of my waking hours doing the job that I'm paid to do. And so that meant I comparatively did a lot less ministry in that sense. And I quite missed it, actually. I liked reading the Bible, people. I liked, just being in awe. And so realizing that reality, I had friends at church who asked if I have you thought about this? Kind of did a bit of nudging. And at that point I'd also been going, there's like uni leavers kind of that you keep meeting even after you finish up at uni. I think it's like maybe once term or once a year, I can't remember now, where you just come back together and you keep thinking about how you be a Christian in the workplace and that kind of thing. And at one of them, I just had a chat with the campus director at that point, and then just had a thought about it and was like, yeah, actually, why not? There is no reason that I shouldn't just give it a go and see whether, it's something that I could do long term. Yeah. So I did MTS for 2 years, part-time though. So I still worked as an OT part-time during that time.
What is MTS?
It's actually also not called MTS there, but I did a ministry apprenticeship. Yeah. And it's basically what you would do in any apprenticeship. Like you kind of
left-handed screwdrivers, all that.
So going there and
give me a long. I forget what it is. Sorry.
Yeah, getting hands-on into like the ministry on campus. Yeah. Doing training with I guess my MTS worker, and then kind of just dabbling into different things. So I think I led a Bible study, met up with some student leaders, met up with non-Christians to read the Bible, did the training that I was once trained in. And like kind of mid-year conference, NTE, those kind of things. Yep. So I did that and kind of thought, I came out the end of it and was like, I think, my trainer was like, I think you should consider doing that full time. And so at that point I was still single, and I actually really wanted to consider going to China as a missionary. I did a short-term mission to China with church in the second year of uni. And just saw the great need anywhere other than Sydney, really. And so I had that at the back of my mind as I applied for more college and kind of going forward.
But that didn't eventuate?
Not yet.
Yeah, I guess.
Oh, not yet.
Not yet. Yeah, that's right. No, because as I was about to go to more college, I started going out with Joey.
Oh, it's just Joey's fault.
Well, we're still doing ministry elsewhere.
What was the thought? I'm just wondering why you thought China was something you really wanted to do.
I know a bit of Mandarin. So I grew up speaking Cantonese at home.
I heard you speaking it too.
Yeah, that's right. That's cool. And Mandarin came through like music, TV series. And so I just thought, I'm Chinese, like that's probably one barrier down. And I can speak I can actually read Chinese as well. And so that makes much more sense than going to a country where I would need to relearn the language. Like I can connect to Chinese people because I'm Chinese. Yeah. And so I thought, yeah, that would be a good way to use my life. Like, yeah.
But unfortunately,
not unfortunately.
Joey got involved. Okay, so then moving from MTS to more college.
More college.
What do you think was it a shock to move to more college? Because Brayden's shared a few things.
I am a massive academic. I don't know what you're talking about.
Are you an academic?
I am
Mary?
not. I also shock because OT, we don't write essays ever.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I remember most of our exams were either multiple choice or short answer. I mean, maybe there were one or two subjects that were essays, but it wasn't like an argue a point, or at least the ones I wrote weren't like a argue your point kind of essay.
Yeah.
So I had to learn from scratch. And I don't think I even still know fully how to do it, but to go, this is what I think and this is why I think it is, and back it up. And so I had to learn that at college. Yeah.
Was that? And you still think was it really, really hard, or do you think you managed to pick it up pretty quickly?
Oh, no, I would say it's hard. I was quite stressed out at college.
Really?
Like, yeah, very.
You were worried about failing and stuff?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Right.
There was a point in the first year, I think the first set of exams, where I was so anxious where I almost got to a point where I was like, maybe I can't sit it. But then I had to really work hard at going, okay, I can only do what I can do. So I'm going to just lay out the days of study, and lay out the topics for each day, and the stuff that I can't do, I can't control. And that was like throughout the whole college.
Yeah.
I needed to kind of do that exercise of, I feel so overwhelmed that I don't think I can do it all, but I will just do what I can and then go for it.
Have you also I suppose like comparing to people who who really love writing and really get
I mean, there
way
was a bit
into
of it. It wasn't the comparison thing wasn't a huge issue for me, but there were certainly people, I certainly admired people who could read something once and be like, oh, I get what this means. I'd be reading the fat paragraph 5 times and I could still not understand what it means. So I'm thankful that God has made people like that, because we certainly need people like that in our world.
Yeah. 3 or 4 years at college?
3 years at college.
Okay.
Yeah.
So was there an end in mind with going to college after the meeting Joey, getting married to Joey, and what you wanted to do?
Yeah.
To use your ministry training?
Yeah. I mean, at the point of, when we got married, I knew that, and we agreed that we'd like to do church ministry. And I was pretty happy to just serve in whatever capacity that I can at whatever church we end up going to. I didn't really have a huge kind of go, oh, okay, I want to get a job in ministry as well, as in get paid for it. I think I was happy to maybe work as an OT and just serve as a lay leader alongside Joey. And so I kind of thought that would be the case. Yeah.
How do you, though, doing MTS and college, tell us what you think, how that grew you in your faith, or at least changed you to at the end of all your training?
Yeah. I mean, both of them were really crucial in helping me go, actually, what matters most is not competency, but my character and my convictions in the gospel, and living that out as a Christian. And I think that's a good foundation to have, that my own relationship with God and living out what I teach really matters. It matters more than how well I can give a talk, or, obviously those things are important, but
Sure.
the first things first.
Were you sometimes maybe putting competency before those things? Is that
Oh,
what helped you see
no, not
that?
particularly, but I think I'm not a particularly confident person.
Okay.
And so I think I had doubts about my competencies. Yeah.
But then doing that training helped you realize that wasn't the other things came first.
Yeah, and that the competencies would come afterwards.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
That was actually very big with MTS, but and also just like the growing in being able to read and understand God's word.
Yeah.
And teach it, and because MTS is very practical, so I think that came out a lot. The one thing that I really appreciated about college was doing Greek. Actually, I've forgotten most of it, sadly, but doing Greek really helped me to slow down to read the Bible, I think. And I actually had to relearn grammar, like, all the, like, I feel I didn't.
Oh, there was, I'd never learnt most of
Yeah,
the stuff.
that's
they,
right,
They
yeah.
start talking about, you're like, cool.
Yeah.
What's that?
Time to learn English, I
Yeah,
guess.
that's right. Absolutely. But it helps so much to read the Bible, to go, what is it saying? Like, what is it? Yeah. And so I very distinctly remember doing Greek and that helping me to just read the Bible. Yeah. For myself even.
Just more
it.
like getting more out of it, not getting deeper into it.
Yeah, and
Okay.
just slowing down at kind of grasping how does this language kind of help me to understand, like relate in relation to each other, and
right. Mm.
And so Joey started a couple of years behind you at more, or was
Yes.
it 1 year? I can't remember.
Actually, no, we didn't cross paths.
Oh, you didn't-
So
yeah.
I did 3 years, and then he did 4
Yeah.
years.
Did he try and steal your notes?
He didn't need them, to be honest. I gave him some of my notes because I didn't keep doing Hebrew. I only did
okay.
Hebrew in first year, and I dropped Hebrew in second and third year. And so I did Old Testament in English as opposed to Old Testament in Hebrew, and they do different books, Old Testament books. So I think the only notes that were helpful were the notes that he didn't go to class for. the like, I think what subject? I think I did. Was it Isaiah? Anyways, there were subjects that we did OT, Old Testament in English, that he
I thought you
didn't
meant
do.
occupational therapy. I'm like, goodness, it's really expensive. Really cross over there.
Yeah. So he took those notes. I think that's pretty much it. Joey would say that he's not very good at studying, but he's definitely better than I am.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Did your study techniques change over those years? And do you think they improved?
Oh, I would like to say so, but I don't actually think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I'm not. Studying is so stressful for me. I don't
Really?
ever want to go back to study.
Yeah, I think I'm the same.
Yeah.
I only went to uni.
I think I would love study if there were no assessments.
That's me.
Yeah.
I love
That's probably
learning.
true too.
The
Yeah.
first 5 weeks of a course where it's just like you're learning new things, you're like, this is great. And
Yeah.
then it gets to like, oh yeah, but this thing you have to start is due in 2 weeks or whatever. And you're like,
Yeah.
oh no, what have I done?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's always my.
Yeah. It's like or you'd had like mini assessments. I reckon be better because I think you've told me
No.
before.
No, well, I'm
Oh, you've
currently
like when you
doing
did graphic
4
design.
mini
Oh,
assessments
okay.
a week, and I'm very over
4?
it.
What
Yeah.
are you doing?
Yeah.
New
What's
Testament
wrong with you?
3. They're doing this weird thing now. Anyway, they've changed the course a lot.
What course are you doing?
This is New Testament 3. is the
Oh,
subject,
right. Yeah. Okay. Yep.
But yeah, graphic design was like all assignments.
Yeah, but they did that pretty regularly, didn't they?
Yeah,
Mm.
that was way better.
Yeah, that would have been better.
Yeah.
Well, I think that wraps us up for part 1. We'll be back next week with Mary again.
We will. Okay.
We'll
great.
have to, and we'll keep you on tenterhooks with
Ooh.
this cliffhanger because we'll hear about Mary's lifelong dream
Oh yeah.
next
Right.
time, and also about coming to Soul Bible. So that'd be good. But we'll be back next week. Stay tuned. Next Friday, Chip Lunch, one way.